All right, so today we're going to dive into something really powerful. It's a framework called Sankofa, and it completely flips the script on how we think about preventing youth violence. See, it's not about just reacting to problems, it's about getting ahead of them. Building this solid foundation of community, identity, and, real healing right from the very start.
Think about it, right? The school day ends. That final bell rings. What happens next? For so many kids, this is the question. They walk out those doors and what? Those next few hours are often totally unstructured, maybe unsupervised. And that can be a really vulnerable time, It's like this vacuum that can pull in some not-so-great stuff.
And this slide just lays it out so clearly. You've got two completely different paths. On one hand, there's that vulnerable window we just talked about, unstructured, high risk, where negative influences can really take root. But then you have the Sankofa alternative, and that's all about structure, purpose, and positive guidance right when kids need it the most. It's a total game changer.
So let's actually walk down that alternative path for a second. Imagine instead of heading into all that uncertainty, a young person's day takes a totally different turn, towards a place that's actually designed for them to grow and succeed. This is where that new journey kicks off.
And here's the philosophy at the heart of it all. The name, Sankofa, is this really cool principle about looking back to your past to build a better future. So this whole model is prevention first. It's not about waiting for a crisis to happen. It's about weaving together all these crucial pieces: education, healing, mentorship, and, this is huge, identity restoration.
Yeah, this is a really important point. We have to get past the old idea of a community center just being, a place for basketball or something. The Sankofa model imagines these places as these amazing multi-service hubs. They're there to extend the learning, the care, and the guidance way beyond when that school bell rings.
So how does Sankofa actually do this? How do they build that foundation? Well, let's step inside one of these hubs and see exactly how they're using hands-on activities to teach structure and self-mastery.
Okay, so check this out, the Martial Arts and Self-Mastery Academy. This is a perfect example. And look, this is so much more than just learning how to punch and kick, right? It's this really intentional process. You start with discipline, then self-control. Each step builds on the next. It's teaching these young people not just physical skills, but that crucial emotional intelligence. How to handle tough situations, how to de-escalate things, and just navigate life without resorting to conflict.
And the great thing is, it's not a one-size-fits-all kind of deal. The whole point is to get kids engaged. Maybe it's through a no-cut sports league, where everyone gets to play, or a swim academy that builds confidence, or even a nutrition program. The idea is to make sure there's a positive, structured outlet for absolutely everyone.
This right here is the absolute heart of the whole thing, the Sankofa principle. It's such a profound idea that to know where you're going, you first have to understand who you are and where you come from. It's like you can't grow strong branches if you don't have deep roots. That sense of self is the compass for everything else.
And this isn't just some abstract concept. They put it into practice with real, tangible tools. Especially for foundational Black American youth, they use things like genealogy and building family trees to connect them to their own personal history. I mean, think about it. When a young person sees their own story as part of this much bigger story of survival and achievement, man, that directly fights back against those feelings of being lost or disconnected that can fuel violence.
Now, as important as all those activities are, the Sankofa model goes way deeper because it understands that a young person doesn't just exist on their own, in a bubble. The support system has to wrap around the entire family.
This table just shows it perfectly. Look at how the support for the kid is mirrored by support for the family. You've got mentorship for the youth, and right alongside it, parenting education for the caregiver. You've got career pathways for the kid and help with housing and employment for the family. It's basically saying that a stable family is one of the best violence prevention strategies there is.
And here's another critical piece. Mental health support is woven right into the daily fabric of the place. So many of these kids are carrying around the heavy weight of trauma they've never had a chance to deal with. By making counseling a normal part of the program, it becomes accessible, it becomes stigma-free. It's just another part of building a healthy life.
So when you put all these pieces together, the structure, the identity work, the family support, you start to see the bigger picture. You start to understand the core philosophy here, that the real cure for violence is community itself.
This quote from the source material just completely reframes the entire issue. It's saying that youth violence isn't some random thing that just happens. It's not a moral failure. It's actually a predictable outcome of a specific set of conditions.
And once you see it that way, the solution isn't about punishing the outcome, it's about changing the conditions.
And here's a really powerful way to think about it. If violence is like a disease spreading in a community, then things like policing and jail time, they're like the emergency room. They're necessary to stop the bleeding in a crisis for sure, but they don't cure the actual illness. They're a reaction, not a prevention.
So what is the cure? Well, this is what it looks like. It's not one single thing, it's this holistic solution. Solid community infrastructure, real trauma care, dedicated mentors, and that deep, important work of restoring a sense of identity. It's the exact model we've just been talking about.
So what's the end goal here? What does all this work lead to? Let's take a look at the future that the Sankofa framework is trying to build. This isn't just a theory on paper. It's a blueprint for a real positive change, a vision for what's actually possible.
And here are those goals. They're so clear, they're measurable, and they're profound. We're not just talking about less violence. We're talking about better grades, better mental health, more kids ready for the workforce. It's about building young people who aren't just safe, but who are strong, healthy, and ready to lead really successful lives.
You know, ultimately, this framework leaves all of us with a challenge. It asks us to move the conversation away from pointing fingers and placing blame, and instead, it calls for us to take on a collective responsibility, as communities, as cities, as a society, to choose these proactive solutions that don't just manage a problem, but that actually literally save lives.
And the author of this framework ends it with this simple, powerful sign-off: peace and love. It's more than just a phrase, it's the entire vision, isn't it? A future where every single young person isn't just surviving, but is truly alive and truly free. Peace and love.